Ellen's audience have some insane talents. As much as Ellen hosts many celebrities on her show, her audience is also quite entertaining. Be ready to get wowed as you witness some amazing skills and tricks in today's video. From a guy who can do push-ups with 2 fingers, a blindfolded hula-hooping pianist, to a lady who can juggle tables with her feet. Here are our Ellen audience picks with some insane talents. 19. Kwame. When Ellen opened her show, she mentioned that many people applauded her audience as the best crowd ever. She, however, wanted to prove this was true by discovering their hidden talents. And it was at this moment she called Kwame to the stage. He was meant to do push-ups, but uniquely with his fingertips. At first, nothing seemed interesting with his routine as they looked like regular push-ups, but he switched things up a notch when he started moving from 5 fingers to 2 fingers. That's not all. He even started pulling other insane tricks that ended up tearing the mat. Members of the audience as well as Ellen were amazed by his skills. Before we get to the next talent, how many push-ups can you hack? Tell us in the comments section below. Number 18. Helen and Lizzie. When they got on stage to meet Ellen, Helen mentioned she was coming from New Jersey, just like Kwame. So Ellen was intrigued by how talented people from New Jersey were, and even joked if they were also going to do some push-up tricks. As cheesy as it sounds, these 2 girls were ready to wow the crowd with their insane marshmallow catching tricks. The 2 women knew each other from their basketball team, and they were using these skills to perform this amazing marshmallow trick. Ellen wasn't as surprised at first, but things sparked up when Lizzie moved to the edge of the stage to perform the throw into Helen's mouth. All 3 throws were a success, and Ellen also wanted to give it a go. I mean, how hard could it be catching marshmallows with your mouth? In reality, Ellen wasn't able to be as lucky as Helen, but was able to get the 3rd, which was a sweet catch. Number 17. Bailey. When the guy got on stage, Ellen assumed he was also coming from New Jersey, but she was wrong. His talent was also insane. He wanted to do flips, and all he needed was extra space. I'm not saying all flips aren't special, but Bailey defied gravity by making flips in midair and even ended in a 180 split. 16. Stephanie and Sydney. The 2 bubbly girls came on stage and nobody had any idea what they were going to showcase since they just mentioned that they were flexible. Just before they started their act, they started to undress to get into costume. Music starts playing and the 2 girls get into formation. They move so gracefully, one would get lost in their performance. I kid you not, these 2 could stretch in ways that seemed impossible for the normal human body. Some of these moves were cringeworthy since they looked very risky, but they were able to maneuver without any issues. 15. Carlson and Carlson. At just 13 years of age, these twin brothers came to amaze Ellen with their hockey tricks. They were given the sticks and everything after that was somewhere between cool and probably really dangerous. They were able to juggle the hockey puck with the stick, making various flips and turns. What made their showcase interesting was the fact that they were able to do some tricks in sync with each other. The fact that they weren't scared an accident could happen made it a very entertaining video to watch. 14. Lila. This student and freelancer left Ellen speechless after revealing her talent was making animal impressions. She moved back and started with a horse, and for a moment, the audience starts to giggle. Even Ellen makes fun and tells her to add a kick. She moves on to a dog, which was a very cute impression, before moving on to oinking like a pig. Her closing impression was the sound of a zebra, which was unheard of. Even Ellen thought she'd made it up, but Lila explained that she owned a zebra, so she heard them all the time. Let's make this interesting. Can you do any animal impressions yourself? If so, do you have any links to prove this? 13. Asia. Asia Ray was the most interesting talent to watch during this episode of Ellen. Despite working at a bar, she wasn't tending to any bars, but instead swallowed swords for a living. Curious to understand or know what type of bars have such acts, Ellen discovered it's a magic venue and bar. Asia tells the audience that they perform various magic tricks as well as eating fire. Shocked, Ellen turns to tell the hockey trick boys not to try any of these stunts at home. Before showcasing her sword-eating trick, Ellen was curious to know how she began the whole process, but cut her short after discovering she grew up in a freak show. Asia starts by licking it before carefully placing it inside of her mouth, then later into her throat. Watching this had me gasping the whole time, and the audience was so amazed. She reveals to Ellen that one needs a very good gag reflex to avoid any accident from happening. Some of us can't even handle brushing our tongues. Can you imagine something as sharp as a sword down your throat? 12. Netta. This medical assistant assists her friends in ways that I'd love to befriend her. At first, everybody was wondering what her main talent was since she said she carries things for her friends when they go out, and she was ready to show the audience how. She first asked for a table. You'd think she was going to lift it, but turns out she needed space to place things coming out of her chest. She removes a spray, deodorant, a purse, sandals, snacks, makeup bag, flat iron, brush, and get this, a bottle of alcohol from her chest. Ellen was curious to know what she even starts with and mentioned it's always the bottle. 11. Brad. In this episode, Ellen wanted to find out if her audience could do the things they claimed they could. Brad claimed he could balance a dollar note and a quarter at the same time on his nose. Since it sounded specific, Ellen believed Brad could do it, so she requested him to show the audience. After he makes the note and the quarter stand on his nose, the audience applauded in amazement. 10. Fave. She claimed to have the skill to juggle a table with her feet, but to prove her claims, she had to do it on stage. Everyone was in shock after she started swinging the table with her feet and even throwing it and doing tricks without any protective gear. This was beyond amazing that Ellen made fun of Brad, who could balance a dollar and quarter on his nose. 9. Mary and Pavel. Mary claimed that she could do the splits and stand up from the splits without using her hands. Ellen and Twitch were convinced she could do that, but things took a sour turn on stage after she got stuck on the ground after unsuccessfully completing the split. However, a random guy from the audience, Pavel, claimed he could do it and indeed did more than just getting up from a split without using his hands. 8. Ricci. Naval Officer Ricci told Ellen he could do things with his stomach shirtless. What he does next is unexpected because he could tuck his guts inward and move his bowels like a wave. Something a regular human isn't able to do. The whole thing spooked some audience members who were seen covering their faces not to watch the bizarre stomach-turning skills. 7. Kenan. When Kenan the chemist revealed that he played piano, Ellen wasn't as amazed. However, when he grabbed a hula hoop and blindfolded himself, she was amazed and even had to move closer just to watch the madness. Kenan was able to play the piano and hit the notes well without any mistakes despite being completely blindfolded. 6. Makayla. She wasn't the first audience member to showcase their flipping talents, but Makayla was ready to show Ellen how insane her backflipping skills were. At first, Ellen was very uncomfortable, but gave her the green light to showcase her talent. Her skill amazed Ellen so much that she had her do it outdoors for the camera. 5. Christian. Walking on hands over a bunch of people may not be considered a talent, but not everybody can do that. Many thought this lady was bluffing since she didn't seem to have a lot of upper body strength. But once she was able to walk over a long line of Ellen's staff, everybody had no choice but to stand her skills. 4. Simon. As the only trick involving fire, Simon went out of his way to showcase his fitness and flaming bow stack tricks at once. The audience was amazed at how composed he was while doing the various stunts without having any protective gear, even walking on his hands while balancing the stack with his feet. 3. Scott. Scott tries to do magic as a way of attracting the ladies, and he was ready to showcase these skills on Ellen. He shuffles a deck of cards before telling Ellen to selectively pick a card and sign it. He then continues to shuffle them as he engages her in talk. After a while, he puts the cards in his mouth and belches the cards out as one card remains in his mouth. As Ellen picks out the last remaining card popping out from his mouth, as they so thought, it wasn't the one she signed. After a gross encounter, Scott then belches out the last card, which appeared to be folded, and alas, it was the card Ellen had signed. Not sure how he was able to pull this one off, but the whole trick was interesting to watch. 2. Russ. Russ, a student, told Ellen he can drink a can of soda with no hands. I know what you're all thinking. This was probably tried with a can of something else rather than soda, but hey, let the young man get his moment of fame. Russ goes ahead to open the can with his teeth and lift it with his mouth as he gulps everything down his throat. He takes a few minutes to drown a whole can, which he later crushed with his hands. The way this guy gulped down that gassy drink, it really puzzles me. I mean, no choking or belching in between, is he even human?
I saved the best for last, but first, I have a quick challenge that takes only 5 seconds to complete. If you can leave a like and subscribe within the next 5 seconds, you'll get 10 years of amazing luck. Just try it, it really works.
1. Christine. I know it sounds cliche when more than one audience member claims to know how to do the splits, but Christine came to steal the show with her insane mid-air split. It looked like something out of a movie. She gracefully swang with the fabric and danced her way to the top. At first, I even thought things had gone wrong and she was getting entangled in the fabric, but it was all part of her plan to get securely held by the fabric before attempting the split. After a while of dancing and hanging on fabric, she does an unimaginable 180 split in mid-air before swinging back down to the ground. Everyone, including Ellen, was amazed by her performance. Of all the audience members, who entertained you the most?